Well, this week's guest is a Chinese dissident artist who's known by his nom de plume Badiucao, one of his latest works titled A New Tank, which was made in support of Hong Kong activists, was unveiled this month in front of the Danish Parliament building. He joins us now from Melbourne, Australia. Thank you very much for being with us here on France 24. First of all, why are political cartoons and satire so powerful to you?
Well, satire cartoon has this magnificent power to deconstruct the authority of tyranny like China. It empowers people to telling them politicians or leaders are not gods. They shall be challenged all the time. And artists are trying to helping any of the activists or dissidents to express their criticism against the authority. But also, I think political cartoon has this humor to comforting the people who are in this kind of desperation of protest. It helping people to have a brief joyness when they have to fight all day long.
Now, your criticism of Beijing has forced you to work underground and in exile. Tell us about what life as a dissident has been like.
I just want to be an artist. But because of my artist focus that subject me to this very harsh condition, that I have to live a very cautious life that actually even outside of Australia, outside of China, thousands miles away from China, that I still have to worrying about like being followed by possible agents. My internet or mobile phone got cyber attack all the time. I have to use VPN to get access to internet, even outside of China. And this is just a part of the reality that I have lived in. Plus, there are families of mine in China got harassed all the time. So I don't think anyone would envy my life.
Now, we've seen the ongoing pro-democracy movement return to the streets of Hong Kong recently. China's parliament has now overwhelmingly approved directly imposing national security legislation on Hong Kong. How do you see the situation in the city panning out there?
I think that is a very dangerous move. That's showing the world the Chinese government do not really care about human rights or democracy. Because we used to see Hong Kong as a lighthouse for a possible change for mainland China. Maybe because Hong Kong's different, it will bring in, the hope of democracy and freedom for this country. But now all of this has been bankrupt. The so-called one country, two system is totally dead. And I think this is basically the last nail on the coffin of Hong Kong's freedom and autocracy and Hong Kong's autonomy. So this is really a bad moment for all of us. I have to emphasize on this, that Hong Kong's freedom are not just for the people in that city. It is also a front line of battling between authoritarian society and the free society, like all of us are enjoying now. So it's really bad news for me and for every one of us.
Now, China is, of course, the epicenter country where this whole Covid-19 pandemic stems from. What is your view of Beijing's management of this health crisis?
Well, obviously, it's very problematic and inhumane. We all know in the very beginning that China tried its best to covering the pandemic or the outbreak. It silenced people like Dr. Li Wenliang, who are the whistleblower doctors, try to, warning the people around him. Then the China is moving with this very brutal locking down. We all see the price that the residents in Wuhan has paid. And also, there's something that we can never trust any of the numbers being opened by the Chinese authority. I never trust a second for the death roll or the infection numbers being published by the Chinese authority. I would have to say that the whole world now is suffering because of lack of transparency, because of lack of freedom of speech. I think it's a moment that the world should united to criticize China's handle of this crisis and to asking the responsibility from the Chinese government.
Okay, the Chinese activist and cartoonist Badiucao, thank you for joining us here on Access Asia.